All right,
Come on.
new Salty Sports Show episode, and I'm here with both Link and Steven this time. At
Let's
long
go.
last,
Yeah.
the schedule works. Um,
Yep.
but it hasn't quite for the NFL, but it's looking smoother for them now. But I guess speaking of the NFL, I guess first we have to honor a legend of the game in both coaching and broadcasting. Rest in peace, John Madden. His influence is unmatched, and he's a great dude. It's unfortunate he passed away at 85, and prayers up for him and his family. And we know that he lived a great life.
And his influence over the game of football and broadcasting will definitely
Yeah,
the thing, man, like Madden. I mean, you go beyond like his coaching and broadcasting. He's also like when you think of football. Think about it. He's the face of the highest selling video game or football video game franchise of all time.
yeah,
Has been for over 30 years. And the only reason, and this is like one of my favorite stories of John Madden. The only reason he put on his name on the original EA John Madden football is because he wanted to. Well, no, the only way he would give him his name and likeness is that he wanted the game to be the most accurate simulation of football that you could possibly get at the time. And you know what? That's to show you. That's how it shows you how much he loved the game. Like
yeah,
from he influenced a lot as a coacher. His broadcasting, I'm pretty sure he was the first person first well known broadcaster to start drawing on the screen and analyzing the play.
yeah,
And such an iconic voice, and it's real shame we lost him just so suddenly.
yeah. Definitely just a shame, and it's tough. I mean, man, it must be, and I know this is kind of weird, but like this like really tough, like a really awful like year for like the Raiders organization, and just to lose a guy like him now, uh, it's just definitely it's just all really just kind of depressing just thinking about that, and yeah, uh, but I guess it was an honor that he was with us for 85 years, and may God rest his soul. And I guess we'll start with some more football news, kind of moving on. The big news a week ago, we weren't able to really discuss the games. I was out on a vacation. That's why Urban Meyer is no longer the head coach in Jacksonville. Um, he was fired after how many games? 13 games? 14 games?
Like 12. I thought it was
It was
12,
after,
but
it was
might maybe
after the
13.
Tennessee game.
Yeah.
I thought it was 12. If I could be wrong. It's been a
Really,
while.
really, Urban Meyer was going into a Jacksonville situation that it had its promise. You had your draft capital, you had the ability to select a generational talent, and he has outright deteriorated that situation. Um, Lots of issues in the locker room and off the field, and it seems like Shad Khan was exhausted and sent Urban out. They're in a head coaching search. They're looking across many names such as Byron Leftwich, Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn. Um,
I know
surprise,
Bowles is in there, and the Packers offensive coordinator, who
yeah,
ex-Jacksonville
I believe.
coach.
Surprisingly, no Brian Dabble, which that was a hot name last year. Obviously, his stock has cooled
Surprisingly,
off, but you'd think that
by the way.
NFL teams might have still been looking at him regardless. Um, kind of another surprise because if you see that Dan Quinn has been getting his name thrown out there, you'd think that maybe Todd Bowles would as well, but that's not necessarily the case.
I think he did. I think he was.
Oh, really?
I thought he was mentioned. I don't remember. I could be wrong, but I feel like he was mentioned.
Yeah. And so
I mean, the Bucs defense has been really good, so he definitely no surprise to see him getting other more consideration.
Yeah, I'd
it's also hard to be good with the Jets, and I don't want to become an apologist, but I mean, he's been good with the Bucs for sure.
I'd love to see Todd Bowles get another shot. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But for now, we can now I will say this: how this situation has turned into an just as bad situation with Bobby Paterno with Atlanta in 2007. I think we can all agree on this.
Yeah.
Didn't even last the full season and just went out, caused a bunch of locker. He kicked his own player.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And and definitely, the situation over there. I mean, look, whoever's going to be the new head coach, they have a lot to work with. So much that Urban Meyer did wrong. His treatment of James Robinson, wasting a draft pick on another running back when you have all the needs that you do, giving Trevor Lawrence a just god-awful situation to try to succeed in his rookie year. That team is going to need to be extremely active if they want to have a chance of looking anything respectable. I'm not even saying decent, just respectable next year. Being a watchable product. At least maybe Trevor Lawrence gives them that. But
yeah. I mean, they currently right now, I think they're still the number one pick right now in the upcoming draft.
So speaking of, I guess we'll transition this week. The team that sent Urban Meyer on his way, the Titans, played on Thursday night against the 49ers. I will let you discuss that game, Link.
Yeah, we inadvertently fired Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
So and after we were, we pissed on the grave that was the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. Didn't get to talk about this, but then we played. And we had a game against Pittsburgh, which I definitely could not talk about. But Pittsburgh game really did sting a lot. I'm not gonna go way too far into it, but God, it was so hard to watch, especially the last quarter, where we had 3 straight turnovers on 3 straight drives, all for fumbles. It was so painful, and it looked like it was going to continue in the Thursday night game against San Francisco. Especially those first 2 drives. Honestly, at that point, I wanted to just turn the game off because I knew what was going to happen. No one could tackle on defense. The offense was just it wasn't firing on all cylinders that first half. Like, okay, so Todd Downing, right? So Mr. Todd Downing, why on earth on a 2nd and 20 do you run up the middle, huh? You didn't throw anyone off. He got 5 yards. Brother, you're not, Todd's just been, Jesus Christ. Talk about a downgrade of a year when it comes to the offensive play calling. I can also, I don't know, man. He's just not working out. It's just, you can see it across the board. The Titans offense across the board is down.
Yeah.
Tannehill this is definitely a down here for Tannehill. Already in a double digit. I think he's almost at his career high in interceptions a season.
Yeah, and there's, a lot that went wrong. And Henry going down is the big one, but I don't think the impact of Julio just never being available is discussed enough on that offense.
Yeah, and Tannehill, Jesus, he's the league leader in sacks taken. But I don't think it's just the offensive, I don't think it's the line's fault. I think he just doesn't know how to get the ball off. He just keeps holding it and just. But, all the negativity the first half, the second half did happen. The immediate field goal. A.J. Brown in his return game showed up, got the job done. He was definitely the driving force of the offense. 11 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown to his name. Led the Titans to a late fourth quarter comeback, and Randy Bullock, with 4 seconds to go, kicked that game-winning field goal in what was a very close game. And, it looked like it was going to be all doom and gloom, but Titans pull out of it like they usually do. And I was hoping to clinch the division by this week, but unfortunately, Arizona was unable to take care of Indianapolis. More than that later, I guess.
Yeah. Guess before
I'm
we go.
surprised.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I just want to add something. I'm still surprised the Titans have maintained the level of. I mean, they're like what? They're 10-5 right now.
You're 10-5, yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're still that good throughout all this because it's been kind of a nightmare season for any team with like bad coach. I mean, yeah, I'd say any team with bad coaching and that squad is not watching football anymore. Any fan of a team would like that.
Oh yeah, and especially having 3 of the 4 main, if you look on any like the preseason though, when Julio Jones was signed, you're like, oh, this is the Titans. This is all the time. We got Tannehill, got Henry, Julio, and A.J. Brown. He's like, oh, this is gonna be an explosive Titans offense. 3 of 4 have went down this season. The only one that hasn't at any time was Tannehill, and you know what? He's having a down year, so it's. Definitely, I guess I think everyone had a lot of expectation in the offense this year, but it's just really underdelivered.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
was in large part because of those, injuries in the end.
The defense really has stepped up, though.
Yeah, Kevin
I will
Kevin
say.
Byard has been great.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he got the Pro Bowl selection, so good on
yeah,
you.
him
But
and
we go into the next game.
yeah,
Guess who's out? You're not going to believe it. Another big Titan out. I think Bud Dupree's not playing, and
Julio Jones.
yeah, Taylor Lewan's also out. I think Jayon Brown's out.
Yeah,
Yuck.
that's not pretty. But I guess we were talking about the Colts, but there was a Christmas game on before that one. That was Green Bay and Cleveland. Kind of an uglyish game. Baker Mayfield was atrocious, and the fact that Green Bay had to take this down to the wire to beat
oh my
Cleveland
god,
playing
that was
this
insane.
badly is I would say, a very ugly sign about their chances in the postseason.
Yeah,
Um,
they almost blew that game.
the fact that Tyler Huntley and Baker Mayfield, and yes, Baker Mayfield was playing awfully, but I don't care, took them down to the wire is a very I would say very concerning notion about the Packers when it's time to go up and play teams like Tampa Bay, the Rams, I mean, the Rams they've handled quite easily before, but that's beyond the point. Um, that was not pretty. You have to give some props to Kevin Stefanski to really, scheme the team and keep them in this game with a much better team. Um, that late call though, with missing the pass interference, or I don't know if it was that or holding on that last interception, was ugly though. That was definitely bad, and Cleveland should have had a shot at kicking the game winner. And with that, Green Bay remains in the 1 seed and has 2 games left against Minnesota and Detroit. If they win both of these games, I believe they are through. They can clinch the 1 seed as early as next week if they win and Dallas does not beat Arizona. If they um, If they win, however, that will knock both the Rams and the Buccaneers out of contention of the 1 seed, regardless of those 2 teams' results, I believe. So I guess moving on to the next game with big playoff implications, the Cardinals slip again, and this time maybe it was last week, but they this point seems like what looked like very likely that they would take the NFC West crown. Seems like with this loss to Indy, they have really slipped off their chance to catch the Rams and have a home playoff game. Uh, Jonathan Taylor, once again, extremely dominant. He has really created himself an MVP case in a year where
Nope, I disagree. I
oh
knew you were gonna say that. You're gonna tell me that Henry had a 2,000-yard season and didn't get a single MVP vote, but Taylor gets to have a MVP caliber season this year?
well
He's got 1,600.
do you know what the difference
Last
between do you know what the
Yes,
difference between
yes,
this year and
Terry.
last year was?
Yeah, I know. You're gonna bring it up.
No,
Henry's
actually, that not at all. The difference between this year and last year was last year there was an extremely obvious pick at the quarterback position that made it very clear midway through the season that he was going to win the award and didn't fall off. That being Aaron Rodgers. This year, it has been extremely rocky for the candidates. Um,
I don't know about that.
I would say it has.
I'd say it's competitive, but I can't really say. I mean, Brady is having an excellent season. You can't. I mean, you can't count out Cup getting it because I mean, he's breaking every he's on. He's I think he's already broken a couple like NFL records, but he's on track as a receiver. I mean, I don't know. I can't like. I mean, I can definitely see arguments for it, but I can't see him being the guy for MVP.
I'm not saying he's the guy, but I'm saying the reason why he actually has a shot is because there is no quarterback this year that has been quite as dominant as Aaron Rodgers was in the year 2020.
I
That's
can't disagree though. I understand League's frustration.
yeah. Which in reality, that's just the luck of the draw. It had Henry been going for 2,000 this year, he certainly could have a case. But that aside, right? The big thing with the Colts right now is that they are running the ball extremely well. I think Wentz he was a bit less of a passenger in this game than he was against New England, that was a humongous game. That we'll talk about its implications more when we talk about the Patriots game against Buffalo. But with that win, the Colts are in a driver's seat position after two very tough games to go and take a postseason spot. And for the Cardinals, they need to get their shit together soon. Their chances at the NFC West could die next week if they do not successfully do not come out of Dallas successfully. I believe with a Rams victory following that up. If but yeah, that's kind of the implications of that game. And I guess we'll move on now to another one. This one will go on really quickly. In the NFC West, the Rams continued to set themselves up in better position, taking care of the Vikings. Vikings kept this one a little closer than kept this one somewhat close. It was a 2-score game in the end, but a 10-point 2-score game. But in the end, the Rams prevailed, and Minnesota are looking at themselves in a must-win situation going to Lambeau Field. And yeah, they'll be massive underdogs, but for some reason, when Kirk Cousins needs to get his team back up to 500, he'll fucking do it.
Wait, are the Vikings? Are they still in the picture? Or are they in the hunt now?
They're in the hunt.
They are the last team out. They're the first team out of the playoff hunt. It's their 8th in the conference.
Yeah.
All right, I gotcha.
Then moving on, in terms of a team moving up in position, the Eagles, after a very massive victory against Washington, which is likely a tone setter for both teams' futures in terms of these last 3 weeks of the season. We'll start with Philadelphia, how that went out. They were tied 3-3 with the Giants at halftime and then exploded offensively. I think they won 30-10, something around that. A very good game for them. The Eagles have been hot after a 2-5 start, and yes, have they played a bunch of nobodies and won those games? Yes. Are they probably shithousing a playoff a spot? Sure, but in the end, I mean that's what those players want to do, and very good victory for them. Absolutely dominating New York at home. Those two split the season series 1-1. But now we get into a game in Foxborough. We talked about the Colts and their victory against the Patriots. Well, with that game and the Bills' victory against Carolina last week, the Bills had suddenly reemerged with a very good shot at taking the AFC East crown back, and they succeeded. Josh Allen played insanely well on the road against one of the best defenses in the league, and the Bills are back on top of the AFC East over the Patriots. And just to say this, the Bills have been playing better lately, and if this is the time to get hot, well, they found the right time.
Yeah, because they went,
for sure.
especially after the Buccaneers game. I mean, they were on a, I think they were on a, yeah, they were on a 2-game streak, losing streak when they played New England that first time. Then Tampa, they did recover and beat Carolina. This is a real good statement win.
Yeah, that is a not only a win that puts them in driver's seat in their division, but possibly a season saver, knowing how crazy tiebreakers can end up being. And not only are you saving your season and putting your fate in your own hands, but you're putting your fate in hosting a postseason affair in your own hands.
Yeah, but with the picture in the AFC right now, that could easily slip away these next 2 games. The wild thing about the AFC is that we're this late into the season, but yet 13 teams are still eligible for the playoffs.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a big set of cuts coming real soon. But yeah. So, anyways, the Bills' final 2 games, however, are home games against the Falcons and the Jets. So, you're talking about how radical change can come. Well, let's be honest, the Bills, they just need to take care of business. And if they fail to do so, then against these 2 teams, were they really deserving of something in the end? Probably not. But anyways, moving on to the next one, the Baltimore Ravens, with all of their injuries and the secondary, with no Lamar Jackson, went out to slaughter against the Bengals, who absolutely took it to them.
For the second time this season.
And Joe Burrow had a great game. Jamar Chase had a great game. T. Higgins had a
Great
great
game. That's an understatement. That's
T. Higgins had a great game. But yeah, Joe Burrow, his game in particular, that was a great performance.
Excellent. 525 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
He feasted on the Ravens and
yeah. As for the Ravens, that team is so injured and battered that, let's be honest, they are not making it at this point. It's those losses to Pittsburgh and those losses not to Miami. I mean, that's just going to bite them in the ass and keep them out.
Exactly. They're on a 4-game skid right now. I mean, yes, they played all still opponents that are eligible for the playoffs, but these next 2 games, they play LA and they play Pittsburgh again. Lamar Jackson still have they said when his potential time to return is?
I think he's expected. I think he's expected for the LA game, but we'll see. But yeah, it's really ugly for Baltimore. Their entire secondary is injured, which was a big reason why the Bengals just really lit a fire on it. No Marlon Humphrey, and of course they already didn't have Peters and some other quality players. Um, and just really that was just another just big one for the Bengals. Joe Burrow, an all-time performance for sure. And the crazy thing is that there would have been a performance that could have statistically put his to shame had that team, and I'm giving you a clue, but I won't, say it. Had that team decided that they wanted to give their opponents hell like the Bengals did in the second half of the game, but they ended up taking the foot off the gas. But I guess just a quick another game. AFC North related. The Steelers, they played the Chiefs and they got their shit kicked in. Kansas City continues their hot run after that 3-4 start. They are looking like they're gonna take that 1 seed and be commanding in it. But I guess we'll go to the next game that we'll also briefly touch on the Chargers and the Texans. What is there to say about what is there to say now? But there's the weird curse where teams that beat the Chiefs, and I saw this. Teams that beat the Chiefs always find they've lost to teams that that are like crazy bottom feeders, like the Titans. They beat the Chiefs, but they lost to the Jets. At the time for the Ravens, when they beat them, they would lose the Dolphins, who at the time were a bottom feeder. That's changed now, but still. There's the what's it called? The now the Chargers. I mean, there was the Bills and the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And now the Chargers, they lost to Houston. Davis Mills has performed well, and to be and to be entirely honest, he deserves to be, as I think he's earned the right to be the Texans starter in 2022. It's not a good quarterback class anyways, so I don't see why they shouldn't just give Mills another shot next season. Sir Herbert, not the game that you want to see from him, following up some strong performances, and the Chargers have to do some soul searching real fast because they can definitely get in, but they cannot afford to lose these next 2 games against the Raiders and the Broncos. These are absolute must wins. They have to go and run the table and win out and finish 10-7. But now, Steven, so the Bears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it from you.
All right. Well, Bear's been injured to hell the whole year, as I'm sure most people know. And this week, yet again, they were without Justin Fields. They were. I don't even know, honestly. They were definitely without Andy Dalton. He was injured for sure. But Fields, they declared Foles a starter before Fields was confirmed can't play. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, Foles got the ball against the Seahawks team that is really underperformed this year because injuries and so on. I mean, I don't know if they had a lot to ask, or they had a lot to overcome before the season started. They're in a really tough division, but they just really not be able to meet that this year. So they're meeting that team in a very very snowy climate. Very very depressing atmosphere at the game. I won't lie. I wasn't there. I mean, but I would definitely watch it. Quite depressing. Anyway, Seahawks came out obviously and took the lead early. Bears really couldn't get many good drives going. They relied on Montgomery a lot, but he didn't really get many yards. His yards per carry, I think, was hovering around 2 for most of the game. I don't know how it finished exactly. But it was really at the end there, and man, I really wish I was able to watch that ending because I actually had to step out right before and wasn't home to see it go through. I had to listen to it on the radio. But admittedly, let's just say I was able to use the Matt Nagy gif where he's like got his arms folded and then behind that chills lighting. That gif goes hard. Able to use that at the end there because the Bears came back on of some very poor offensive plays by the Seahawks. Defense really pulled through. And then, I mean, what more can you say except for the Bears were able to string some good plays together. Bit controversial one I don't know if it was that controversial, but the Seahawks seemed to think so. But I mean, at the end of it, there they were really able to take it home. And another good thing too or another good takeaway from the game is Thomas Graham Jr., who has sat out the entire season except for the last 2 weeks on the practice squad, has been very dominant in these first 2 games. And granted, it's first 2 games, but the Bears are running with cornerback 2 situation, mostly consisting of Kendall Wilder and Duke Shelley, who are both very awful. And had both been through some terrible plays this year. So to see Graham do this well, simultaneously not surprising, while being, we're very happy, but it's just disappointing. And I mean, even he was involved in some plays. He was I think he ran one-on-one with Metcalf, who is a lot bigger than him, and that just did not go well. So definitely some negative play calls. But he's done really well. I mean, he's definitely a guy to watch going into a game that they're probably favored to win against the Giants. It's gonna be fun to see how he progresses these last few games because, granted, you're looking at a small sample, but you're also looking at a cornerback situation where Jalen Johnson's been really strong this year. Definitely looks like it could be a good cornerback 1, but at the same time, you want for a team that's struggled with the secondary the last few years, you really want that lockdown corner. You're really looking for it, and the Bears don't have a lot of good draft capital, so to see some guys stepping up, definitely very, very promising. But no Divergent appearance, so that was disappointing. But other than that, good game, good win, excited about it. Gave us somehow we've won 5 games this year. I don't know how we've won 5 games, but we've won 5 games. So yeah.
Anyways, now on to another brief one. The Raiders beat the Broncos in which pretty much a game that feels like a death sentence to the Broncos. They're still in it, but not really. And for the Raiders, they continue to stay alive. And with that victory, it gives me a perfect segue because of crazy tiebreakers, it had officially locked up the NFC East for the Dallas Cowboys, who, even with that, they decided to choose violence on Sunday Night Football and gave the Washington football team an ass kicking for the ages. You can
Yeah,
tell
that was generational.
You can tell that this team in Dallas had absolutely going into the year saw, okay, whoa, they may be coming off the perch of that division right now. But we know this is ours, and we know that now that we have our quarterback back, that we are going to kick their ass at home for what they did on Thanksgiving that year. And to be fair, we already took one on the road, and the fanfare wasn't quite the same. Obviously, I think for Washington, the expectation was that their fans would have desired was for at least a watchable product. I don't even think they were expecting, a win. But Dallas was so merciless that they didn't even get that. The first quarter started off with a bang. We got a first down, but had to punt. And on the first offensive play, Trevon Diggs intercepted a pass targeted for Terry McLaurin. Not a good throw by Heineke, but his closing speed all made it feel like it was a ball meant for Diggs, and he did really he played very well today when guarding Terry. Really kept Terry out of the game. Obviously, some of it was Taylor Heineke being a bad quarterback, but in a lot of regards, Diggs really played some excellent football. On the other And after that interception, Dallas had a spark, and they just kept scoring back-to-back touchdown drives, and just absolute beauty out of Dak Prescott, who he was looking like his old self, the MVP form. DeMarcus Lawrence had a pick six, had a very nice move to stay in bounds. And that looks like looks like he could be a running back for a second with the way that was going. And Washington did get a touchdown back, but I mean, the game was beyond saving for them at that point. Dallas's offense in the second quarter um, basically got the score, I believe, somewhere around like 42 points. Um,
Yeah,
Dak Prescott,
first half was like 42, I think, right?
yeah,
I was
Dak,
watching because I was watching to see if he'd break Burrow for the pass for
yeah,
see if he'd break 500 passing yards,
and
but
yeah,
alas,
Dak Prescott just went off 320 yards and 4 touchdowns in one half of football, and and when we were talking about the Bengals and how Burrow had his dominant performance, Dak could have easily shredded that had Dallas decided that they wanted to be aggressive and they wanted to keep just piling it on Washington. But they decided that, the health of their key players was the important thing, and Dak was pulled midway through the third quarter. Uh, didn't only got another like 10 or 20 more yards or so since then, and Cooper Rush was in the game. And, just to make it fun, we got a special teams touchdown, a punt block going in. So, in that regards, you could say that Dallas truly won in all three phases of the game, um, which is pretty insane. I mean, Dallas's special teams has definitely taken a big turnaround in recent years, ever since the McCarthy era. Yeah, Greg Zuerlein has struggled this year, but in terms of punt blocking, I mean, we've done an excellent job with it this season. And just gotta say, I mean, this was a very complete victory. I mean, everyone played well. There was nothing really to complain about at all from the Dallas side. As for Washington, their season still technically lives, but with a loss like that, like 55-14, I think it was. They
56 to 14.
56-14. That's right. Okay, 56-14. I was thinking it was either 56 or 55. I was just like, um, with a loss like that, oh, I guess just to even mention it further, we had a great drive from the backups. That was the one that made it. They got it to the 56 mark. It was Cooper Rush, and he had a big play to Malik Turner. But yeah. So even with and how can I forget? We had a big man touchdown. Terrence Steele, the left tackle, filling in for Tyron Smith. He was declared an eligible receiver to the referees, and obviously you let them know, and he got one. Um, but yeah, I mean, with the with that in mind, for on the Washington side, you have to go at home. You have to play the Eagles, and you were basically fighting for your lives. And you have to. This is an absolute just um, something to maybe try to at least go out on the season on somewhat of a more positive note. It seems even if they could beat Philly, that maybe actually making it is a very unlikely occurrence. But um, yeah, as for Dallas, they are feeling really good. The defense has dominated the month of December, and Dak Prescott has finally looked like himself, and that is what you want to see going in against Arizona, who are desperate for a spark. But with the way Dallas is playing, you have to feel that this is for the kind of the feeling for the first time all year when you look at this matchup out of the calendar, that you can kind of see this game and say Dallas is the favorite, and Arizona has it in them to win. You never know with Kyler Murray, but Dallas has certainly, and the way the two teams have played these last few weeks, has earned the right to be called the favorite in that game. Absolute dominant statement win, which has overtaken the Patriots Jets game. I think the second one they played, for the biggest blowout of the year, Talk about division rivalries, man, and just absolutely laying it on to them. And you hate your division rivals. You absolutely want to do that. You absolutely want to put them in an embarrassing game like that. And now on to Miami and New Orleans. Someone wants to take that away. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah, I can't believe Miami's 8-7. I mean, I can't believe they have a winning record. Like, it's just insane. The last 2 years, they're over 500. But I mean, it's a battle between two bad teams. New Orleans is so depleted in their quarterback room. Not that they were ever really talented there, but oh my god, I don't even know how you can run any play with that. With Ian Book. With Ian Book, yeah, with Ian Book. I don't know how you could run any play with him, but I can't believe we even got him to see him play in the NFL. I honestly thought he was just going to be like the guy everyone memes in the first round in the mocks, and then just never hears from again. But not a very good game from him, of course. Not a very good game from Miami either. They got 20 points, but Jalen Waddle was really good. But I mean, I don't know. Tua. He had a really bad interception to Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah. Hey, but at least he responded to it.
He's been up and down all year, but
he responded to it well.
They did, yeah. They did, yeah.
He threw this really amazing pass to Matt Collins on the first offensive drive back from that pick. So good for him.
Yeah, I mean it's just inconsistency that's just plagued him all year, really.
But
I don't want. He's not hopeless, but it's just it's just the inconsistency. It was still there. I don't think it was a good win by Miami. It was definitely a bad loss for New Orleans. It's just a tough it's a tough game to stomach if you're either squad. But Miami is above 500 right now, so I don't know. They're gonna do what they're gonna do with that.
They're happy with that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially considering
they went from 7 straight losses to 7 straight wins. I mean, they're definitely
that's pretty insane. They wouldn't have to suffer through the Eagles having a top 10 pick from them this year. So
and
good for them.
Yeah, absolutely amazing for the Dolphins. And you have to wonder, early in the season when they're on that streak, there were some really bitterly painful close losses, but now they've really turned it around, gone over 500, and are holding a spot. For the Saints, I mean, you have to wonder now. I mean, this probably is truly the end of the line. I mean, there's still hope, but how much of it is there? I don't know if there's much. But yeah, that was the big matches for this week. I guess it's now predicting time. Week 17, a week that I'm used to thinking is the end, but in reality, there's one more. It's hard to think of week 17 in a different light than I used to. But we shall begin. The Giants, no Thursday night football, no Saturday. So the Giants, they go to the Bears. Who are we picking here? I think we're going to go with the Bears.
Is Daniel Jones going to be healthy?
I do not believe Daniel Jones will be playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I just wanted to make sure because I was going to say the Bears, but I didn't want to. Yeah, I would have leaned other way, but yeah, no, definitely going Bears. And it's going to be a bad game, but Nick Foles knows how to run the Matt Nagy offense. That's going to get him at least 20 points, and that's probably going to be enough to beat the Giants.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because guess who holds the Bears' first round pick this year?
The Giants.
This upcoming draft, the Giants.
The Bears don't lose either way, so I'm chilling. Honestly, guys can pick whoever you want.
I'll go with I'll go with the Bears. I don't think I'm gonna be going out of my way to watch this though. Gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be tuning in to see watch Thomas Graham and Darnell Mooney, but other than that,
yeah,
I would not be very into this if I were not a Bears fan.
The Jaguars at the Patriots. I don't think any of us are gonna doubt New England here. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I mean, even though they struggled, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rams at Baltimore, and with Baltimore's injuries, I don't think any of us are doubting the Rams here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Buccaneers at Jets. I don't think any of us are doubting Tampa here, right?
No, because Tom Brady
No.
beats the Buccaneers and Tom Brady beats the Jets like every day or every week, every time they play.
Speaking of another game where I feel like we have any doubts here, the Bills hosting the Falcons. Are any of us going to doubt Buffalo here? I don't think so.
Nah. This might be a good upset game. Just in case you're really feeling it.
I will say though,
If you're really feeling risky.
I don't know. The Falcons have been have been very
Surprising.
impressive this year. Yeah, especially for a first-year
Yeah.
coach and a team that's still kind of trying to find
A
their
team
own
with
way.
Matt Ryan starting most of their games still.
Okay, there you go, exactly. But
Yeah.
I'd say it's going to be a very entertaining game to watch. But I will give Buffalo the victory.
All right. Chiefs at Bengals. Who are we going with here?
Well, this is a good one.
I'm gonna go with Kansas City.
I don't know. Give me the upset. I'm riding Joe Burrow's been so hot the last few weeks. Give me an upset with this one. And I know it's the Chiefs and they're on a really hot streak. I really they're on a hot stretch as well. But I mean, I don't know. It just feels like a good game to get your foot in the door on.
I think the Chiefs, with a win here, I think they clinch the first round bye. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I think they're only a game ahead of the Titans right now, right?
Yes.
So hypothetically, that would go to Week 18 unless Tennessee slips.
I wonder. I don't know what that. Well, I know we beat Kansas City, so that shouldn't really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why it would drag into Week 18. I would think, right? If you're only a game back.
Yeah. Give
Um.
me Kansas City.
Speaking of the Titans, they host the Dolphins. Who are we going with here?
Titans. Dolphins winning this game would be just so funny though.
This is interesting when you got Miami. He's got a lot of momentum. Tennessee, who's been shaky these past few weeks. Not gonna lie. You got two quarterbacks who also been, I would say, shaky, and two in Ryan Tannehill. I mean, it's going to be a very, there are a lot of, not expectations, but there's a lot of stakes. Yeah, there we go. There's the word I'm looking for. Miami, they need to win these last two games. They're riding right on the edge of that wild card, of the 7th wild card spot. The Titans, I'm pretty sure a win, and that guarantees the AFC South crown. So they're really needing to win this one for the home field game. It's gonna be really. I mean, it's gonna be a. It may come down to the wire. I mean, you got. I know Brown versus Howard's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah.
Just looking at that, but
I think.
oh,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go with bias here. Titans win.
I'll go with the Titans as well. I think you said you made your pick right, Steven.
Yeah, Titans.
All right. Speaking of the AFC South, the Colts host the Raiders. This might be the end of the line for the Raiders. I'm not entirely sure. For the Colts, this is just, putting their foot on the gas even more. Who are we going with here? I'm going to go with the Colts.
I'll go with the Colts. Not going to be biased until I am.
Washington, their season, they need to save it at home against the Eagles. And you know what? Last time it worked, so I'm going to pick against Philadelphia out of pure spite.
Nah, I'm picking the Eagles. Washington's demoralized. They're fried. Eagles are putting their foot on the gas.
Yeah.
I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, they did play each other recently. Philadelphia ended up winning that game after Washington kind of collapsed after the first half.
Yeah, though Washington have a lot of guys back from them, so that will be.
You can't trust either. You can't really trust either team to be that consistent, but honestly, the Eagles are I just think they're more talented.
I agree.
As it stands.
Eagles win.
Fair enough. As for the, and like I said, I believe Philly is the deserved favorite here, but I want an upset pick, and I feel like this wouldn't be too shocking of an upset pick to me, but it's an upset pick nonetheless. The Broncos at the Chargers. Who are we going with here?
Ooh,
Now that you're just thinking about that as an upset pick, I'm just starting to trying to rationalize that in my head, but I can't really, so I'm just going to say Chargers.
The
I get
Chargers.
Burrow struggled last week against the Texans, but like I don't know. I'm chalking it up to variance rather than any kind of. But I get why I get why you're saying it's an upset. I'm just not willing to ride that kind of variance,
Yeah, fair
especially
enough.
with my guy being the big Justin, plus Herbert being so good this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. I think you said as much, right, Link?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
surprised the Broncos. I'm kind of shocked how the Broncos are still hanging in there. If they win out, they have an opportunity for a playoff spot. That's wild to me, but hey,
Yeah.
there's been a
Uh,
lot of wild in this season.
Next up, the 49ers. They're gonna roll with Trey Lance as their starter. They're gonna host the Houston Texans, which, if for Trey Lance with the weapons that he has in terms of Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, the run game, the O line, you put him up against Houston, and that's a good game to throw him into, I would say. And I think the Niners are going to come out on top there.
This game's going to be hell to watch. Oh my god. It would literally not shock me if neither of these teams scored 20 points. But I like Trey Lance, but I'm skeptical. I want to get. You know what? I'm gonna pick the Texans. I just want just to be the guy to be ahead of this if it happens, because I just feel like there's so many different ways this matchup can go with Trey Lance at the helm, and it's his first start, right? I don't think
No,
he's
this is
started a
this
game
is a
yet.
second start.
Oh, is it second? Yeah, no, because I remember he's ran plays before, but I didn't remember.
Yeah,
Okay,
he started a game.
it'd be a second start. I don't know. I feel like, I don't want to ride the Texans win too much over the Chargers, but I feel like this is a good upset for Houston here. If
Yeah.
you're gonna have to want to pick another one for him, so I'm just gonna pick the Texans. Just try to get ahead of it.
As for you, Link,
The Niners did play a good game against Tennessee, and the Niners they need this win. Obviously, I think they're the last. Are they? I think they're tied with Philly for the 6th seed. I'm not. I gotta pull it up. Okay, they're in this. They are the 6th seed over a tiebreaker dispute.
yeah,
I don't
because they
know.
beat the Eagles head to head.
It's odd because this game, I feel like this game should be an obvious pick for San Fran, but Houston, they've all their wins have been upsets this year, except for the Jacksonville game, in which that's the only team that's on their level competitively.
Yeah. Granted, I think the first time they played it might have been kind of a shocker because some people were thinking Houston were like significantly worse. But
Yeah.
second time around, no one that mistake wasn't necessarily on track to be repeated, but yeah.
Give me the Niners. Go for it. Be safe.
As for the next game to predict, the Lions at the Seahawks. Are we gonna doubt Seattle or
No, Seattle's a bit demoralized. No doubt. If I lost to Matt Nagy, I would be demoralized. But they're not losing to the Lions.
yeah, I think though. I think they should be able to win. What are you thinking here, Link?
I agree. I think the Seahawks will win.
The game that's going to be America's Game of the Week on the slot, the Cardinals at the Cowboys. Who are we going with here?
Cowboys big win here. I'm want to be ahead of it by 20 plus.
Ooh, I'm gonna roll with my boys too, just because they're my boys. Even though I think they are the better team going into this game, that's why I'm gonna roll with them.
No, I think they're confidently the better team, and Arizona's on one hell of a skid. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that if there's going to be a nail in the coffin, this is going to be it right here. Cowboys are, they're the total package are always they've been the total package the whole year. Arizona being on the skid they are. I still really like their squad. It's just this feels like the opportunity for them to take a big loss.
Yeah.
So Cowboys, but I think it's gonna be a big win for them.
Link, did you give your thoughts on this one, or
Cowboys by 10 points.
all right?
Ooh.
Panthers and
I'm like
Saints.
so ready to go like 0 for a million for my predictions, but I just want to
Panthers
get
versus
ahead of it.
Saints.
Panthers, Saints.
Yeah, game will be in New Orleans, I believe.
Man, probably Carolina, but man, this is gonna be like a scoregami like 9-6 game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints. I think that Carolina is also extremely battered, but I think New Orleans will probably just out scheme them for a unimpressive victory. What are you thinking, here,
Probably.
Link?
But I'm just gonna Carolina.
Which game is this? This Vikings Packers?
No, Saints.
Panthers, Saints.
Ah, it's gonna be a gross game.
I
Give
agree.
me Carolina.
All right. Vikings Packers. This one being in Lambeau, of course. Who are we thinking is going to take this one?
Probably the Packers, but I think the Vikings will make it close.
Yeah, I think that the Vikings are going to make this one uncomfortable, but Green Bay will get the victory. What about you, Link?
They're gonna call it
So
out.
we got Kirk Cousins, right?
Yep.
They are 1 win under 500.
Yep.
Think where you know I'm getting at here.
You're going with the upset here.
They're gonna beat Green Bay, and then they're gonna tie Chicago.
Dude, if they're beating Green Bay, okay, first of all, like that prediction is just so gonna happen. Second of all, if they beat Green Bay, y'all better be like on my Twitter profile. You guys gotta have my notifications on because oh my god, it is gonna be cancer in that last 2 minutes there.
Dude, if they beat
I am getting
if they
blocked by I'm a Brewers fan. Like that's my mission.
if they beat Green Bay and Dallas wins, oh my god, man, we're gonna be the top seed. Like, holy shit.
That'd be so chills. See,
Yeah.
no, if the Vikings win this week, that would just be so perfect. If the Cowboys, Cowboys win would be the icing on the cake for me. But it would just be so beautiful.
You want to see the Packers get knocked down in the standings, and that's the best hope, really.
I mean, I don't know. They could come in with a commanding victory after what happened against Cleveland because the Vikings defense is not nearly as good as Cleveland's,
Yeah.
we'll see because Cleveland's defense was really what kept them in that game. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the Packers they were scheming well, but that talent on the line and even in the secondary was just really, really solid.
Speaking of Cleveland, Monday Night Football, they go to Pittsburgh, which could be Ben Roethlisberger's final game at Heinz Field. Who are we taking in this one?
Getting ready for that Ben Roethlisberger final game: 70 passing yards, 2 interceptions, no passing touchdowns. That revenge game right there. But seriously, God, this is a tough one.
I don't trust either team.
Wait, yeah, I don't either, and it's going to be a defensive win for sure on either side. I'm confident saying that. At the end of the day, though, I don't know. Browns had to face a more talented defense, or had to face a talented defense last week, and the Packers have a way better offense than the Steelers. While I hate to use last week for this week in certain cases, I just want to pick the Browns. I don't know. The Steelers are just. It feels like they're one of those teams you always pick against, and they're like a 500 team. So I could very well see this just being a shit show projection, shit show game, but I just want to go Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm feeling.
What are you thinking here, Link?
The Browns these past few weeks have been kind of playing some flimsy football.
We gotta get Ryan back on, man.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
This off season. Look at.
Yes, usually. But I mean, the Steelers also have had like issues playing kind of not really completing their game, especially the Titans game. They didn't really complete that one.
Steelers have been bad the whole year, but the Browns have been bad for the last few weeks. So
yeah, give me. I'm gonna say Pittsburgh wins. Let's go for it.
All right. I really don't know who I feel is going to win this game. Um, I don't feel as if there is a good answer because I don't trust either squad. But part of me just thinks that it might be Ben's final game at home, and Ben has not been having a kind of season to go out that's been pretty, and I think that trend could end up continuing here. So I'm going to say that the Browns are going to kind of give it a sad ending there and win a very low scoring affair, just as the first game was, and effectively end the Steelers' season. So yeah, that's the predictions. It's going to be a crazy week. We are going down to the final stretch of football before the postseason. 2 more weeks, lots of stakes, and you know what? Let me just go through maybe some clinching scenarios. Because why not?
yeah, this is gonna be pretty big week. So
Yeah, should be the last week, but gotta have that 17th game.
Yeah, that 8.
oh my god, it's gonna be so annoying.
Let's just look at a source. So as of right now, oh boy. As of right now, I believe the teams that are just let me get a look at the standings. The other one I was trying to look at is not very useful. So I'm looking at the playoff picture. Standings. Let me go on ESPN because NFL.com is not the best. You look at the conference standings, and looking at the NFC perspective, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Dallas, LA, Tampa, and Arizona have all been locked into the playoffs. San Francisco and Philadelphia have spots and are looking to get ahead. Washington also still in it mathematically, and a loss for the football team would eliminate them. As for the Saints and the Vikings and the Falcons, I believe a loss for the Falcons would be the end of the line for them. I believe the Vikings or the Saints have. Well, I believe same thing with the Saints actually, due to the Eagles and the. Well, actually, no, it's just the Falcons. Saints stuff could happen if the Niners, but Eagles wise, if they win and New Orleans loses, they can't catch them specifically. Um, but yeah, the NFC race could end, and actually, yeah, think about it. San Francisco and Philadelphia could both wrap up their spots in Week 17 and essentially end the NFC race. If not, though, and either slips, we could see a team like Minnesota, maybe New Orleans, try to take a spot. But the big story in the NFC is the race for the top seed. Green Bay can, with a victory, can lock themselves ahead of the Rams and the Buccaneers. However, should Dallas lose as well as a Green Bay win, then they will lock up the top seed definitively. Should both teams win, the 1 seed will be down to week 18. Should Green Bay lose and Dallas win, Dallas will be in the number 1 spot. And it actually gives Tampa somewhat of a chance, a long shot chance, but somewhat of a chance at the 1, but very unlikely. Would require more from Green Bay and LA to lose. The AFC, on the other hand, is a lot more wide open. Kansas City can try to lock up the top spot, but Tennessee is the closest team behind, and as long as Tennessee is only a game behind, there is a chance that Tennessee can catch them. On the other end, the Bengals are on top of the North and the Bills the East, both at 9-6. Both control their destiny to finish it off. But the Colts are the top wild card, followed by New England on the tiebreaker thanks to the game that they played not too long ago. Dolphins are ahead of Baltimore thanks to tiebreakers, which puts them ahead of the Ravens are ahead of the Chargers, and the Chargers ahead of the Raiders. In terms of long shots, the Broncos and the Browns have their own, as well as the Steelers, but it could be ugly. So it's a very insane race in terms of the AFC. Cleveland and Denver and Pittsburgh could all possibly meet their fate. Could be the case for the Raiders or the Chargers or the Ravens. I'm not sure. We'll see how the stuff goes for them. But it is a pretty crazy final couple weeks, and we'll see how that goes. Also, yes, the only team in the AFC that has a spot locked in is Kansas City, who also clinched their division. Everyone else, some you should feel good about making it, but aren't in the best position. But I guess now we can move on and talk about the NHL real quick. There's been a lot of game postponements. Link, if you want to kind of take that away.
Yeah, NHL is having that really bad COVID issue. It's honestly scaring me. I mean, they took off, I think, 2 days early before the Christmas break started, and they're back on track. Games are on right now. The first time games have been on since I think it was last week. But really, it was a very scary situation. I'm pretty sure there are talks about maybe, I know there's a lot of disputes between the United States and Canada, depending on, letting players travel across the border. That's a real hot button issue, and that's a really big bad issue because there's there's 7 Canadian teams. A lot of teams still have to travel up there and play those games. There's still games being postponed. No, Chicago's game today got postponed. Not sure how to. Honestly, pretty scared about this. Like I said, such a shame too, because Nashville was on a good winning streak before our games got postponed. But yeah, it's not a very good situation to look at right now. The same thing kind of goes for the NBA though, because they've also had a lot of players opt out for COVID and whatnot.
Yeah. It's Chicago. We've been playing better since Derek King has come in. Definitely, like you said, bit of a crazy time. Obviously, there's the whole controversy about the way that the Canadian teams are scrutinized with their protocols compared to the U.S. and definitely you could tell that that's obviously a big issue because unlike with the NBA, the amount of Canadian teams are plentiful and not just a Toronto-based one. So that's been kind of wild, but yeah, the NHL it's been a bit kind of crazy in that regard with what's happened.
Yeah, now the NHL may not let their I think that I forgot they announced this already or not or what the situation is now, but they may not let players go to the Olympics in January or February. I mean, oops. But that's kind of a bummer because that was kind of a big storyline. The players will actually get to play in the upcoming Olympic Games, but now that may be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
They may use that time. They may use that time. The 2 weeks they allocated for the winter Olympic break. They may use that to do makeup games now. So that's going to be really. I think there's going to be more on that as we get further into when we get to that point, and if it actually does get to a point where they may actually have to do another break or whatnot. But
Yeah. For
I think the
sure.
Winter Classic still is. I think that game's still not getting posted. I think pretty sure that's still going on as planned though.
Yeah, especially with it being outdoors. That's also you don't have to obviously the very big difference between outdoors versus indoors. Um, and the ventilation. Um, so yeah, that's I'm glad the Winter Classic can keep going. That's a game that's always fun to watch. Going to be rooting for Minnesota against those Blues. But yeah,
Yeah, now that you just remembered that's the matchup, Blues versus Mild. I wish the game got postponed.
well, Kaprizov is fun to watch, so there's that. But another more hockey news: the World Juniors have started, and that's it's always a cool thing to follow. I haven't really paid much attention this time around, but um, it's always cool when that's going on.
I am seeing some good things out of Askarov though. Oh man, when he gets to the Preds, that's gonna be the
You're gonna love
hottest
it.
thing to watch. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Or I haven't really keeping up for the Olympics either. I mean, they are the World Juniors. They just started.
yeah. Wonder how Reichel is doing. I haven't really, looked too much. So yeah, I mean that's really it with hockey. Of course, with the NBA, we'll just touch briefly. Lots of COVID protocols, but we did get our Christmas slate. The Knicks beat the Hawks, though that was without Trae Young. Of course, the big hyped matchup, which was the Nets and the Lakers. The matchup that's like, oh man, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Kevin Durant, I don't think played, and the Nets still went into Los Angeles and won against the Lakers.
Yeah, not a very good game by Westbrook though.
Yeah, that was
That was like the big story out of like that game overall is the Lakers. They have won. They beat the Rockets, which I mean, okay, but before that they were on a nasty 5-game skid. But
they've just been struggling to pick up the pieces of an offense that's just really not vibing, and some guys are really underperforming. Anthony Davis, just the last few years, he's just, oh my god, I don't know what happened to him, but it's not looking great for them right now in terms of like where they're at in general. I mean, they've been in some close games. They're still a decent team. It's just they just got a lot of talent. Feel like they should be playing a lot better, which they should be. But it's just a weird offense. It's a really wonky one.
Yeah. Oh wait, I forgot. I think we were talking just like going back to hockey. I remember that Lucas Reichel was hurt a while ago, so I don't know if he was out. I haven't seen that, but yeah, I guess getting back to the NBA, like that it's definitely it's wild.
yeah, this COVID stuff. You know how wild. You know it's gotten really wild when Joe Johnson finds himself back in the NBA.
Yeah, and pretty crazy, and I mean, I think that in the end, I would say the just things really ravaged a lot of teams across all sports, and I just hope that all you guys watching and you too as well, you just stay safe and whatnot.
You
I
too,
guess like
so you too.
one more point about the Lakers to be known also happened on Christmas Day. The kind of off topic, but the end of the era of the Staples Center,
Oh
and
yeah,
then with this new sponsor, which
crypto.com. I hate it. It's always Staples Center to me. It's
the
always
Crypt.
Yeah.
I mean, like Steven, you're from Chicago. You don't call it the Willis Tower
Mm-hmm.
still, right?
No, I would never.
Exactly.
It's an unwritten rule of the city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Dude, even if you wanted, like, that's a great analogy, Link. Even if you wanted to dumb it down a little bit and just have like such an obvious, like the United Center, if they changed the name of the United Center, it would just be that would be heinous.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the Sears Tower, but would be heinous.
Yeah, it's Staples Center. That's how I always view it. And as for you know, just quickly another just cool game. The Bucks had a pretty good comeback win against the Celtics. Giannis coming back from COVID protocol
Oh
and
yeah,
leading them to a victory. Um,
Warriors Suns is also really good because like they both of them are really having fantastic years. Of course, riding some like super good performances on each end, but they're both super well coached. Warriors by Steve Kerr, obviously, and Suns by Monty Williams.
yeah,
Monty was really good last year in the playoffs. He made some really good adjustments. Was able to beat the Clippers in the conference finals. Made it competitive with the Bucks in certain games. I mean, it was. I mean, even it's that too. It was like prime Budenholzer. So yeah, having out coach that guy is not easy. But but of course, just two very good coaches on two very good teams, and the Warriors were able to squeak out another one. I think they're 2-0 against the Suns now.
yeah,
Just a really good game plan, and they're looking really strong. But the Suns also, you can't count them out. So that was a really good Christmas matchup.
yeah.
Definitely fun one to watch.
Um,
Not fun to watch Otto Porter Jr. torch a team, not with the Bulls, but I mean,
yeah, it
a
happens.
Bull, I can't complain.
And I guess
you
now
know,
just
speaking of the returns or comebacks, as a Grizzlies fan, it was very nice to see Morant come back against OKC. We lost that game. Unfortunately, there was I guess some guy in the stands who said he should have he should have stayed out longer because he didn't really have this best comeback game against OKC. But like this past game against Phoenix, hit the game-winning layup with I think 0.3 seconds to go. Had a really good game.
yeah.
Really great to see him come
Hold on a
back
sec.
and not miss a beat.
Yeah, the Grizzlies have been really strong this year too. So it's been great to see him thriving with that squad overall. But yeah, no, definitely looking. He's very good. I mean, no doubts about that.
Yeah. I guess now just to kind of we're gonna wrap things up real soon. The Carlos Correa rumor train has gone a little wild. I mean, the Yankees, they always, the idea of them, the idea of Houston bringing him back, but really the Cubs, they've looked like a very strong contender for a signature ever since the Stroman signing.
Yes, I'll take the lead on this one, Saul, because you've been doing way too many favors for us. But it's kind of surprising because first of all, the team haven't been big spenders for a little while now.
Yeah,
In this position, it feels a little bit weird they're doing it, but honestly, they're a smart team. You trust their game plan, and none of the signing, and they made some good signings, some potentially high value signings. But he's a different ball game. I mean, he's special. I mean, he's like the best player in this market. Going after him is a big sign. And of course, it's not without the Cubs wanting to, mold his contract around their desires. They've been talking about I think a 7-year deal. Bruce Levine said, I think on ESPN 97.5, in an interview, he said 7 years. He said, I think the implication was there that the 8th year was on the table or more years on the table, but they were operating around those 7 years. So we'll see. But the big thing is I mean, these rumors are I mean, they're still rumors, but they did get pretty heavy for a team for a team in the Cubs position too. So it's not like they're on the outside looking in kind of they're showing to be major players for the guy. And especially considering too, MLB Trade Rumors released an article it was like a week ago. It has to be like a week ago now, but like right when the rumors started circling around, and they listed the Cubs one to they listed 6 teams. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know it's like teams that have been in on him thus far, being the Astros, Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees, Cubs, and there was one more I'm forgetting. I might remember. I don't know. I might remember sometimes, but they were one of those 6 teams. They actually mentioned, Salt, that the Yankees, like, there were reports the Yankees might be out of it, and they might just be content running with their, stopgap situation until some of their big prospects reach, because their farm is really deep in terms of shortstops, so it's definitely understandable. But yeah, but it certainly seems like they're getting kind of serious, and of course you can't ever count out anyone because this is still kind of a quiet market. It's a lockout, so they're not really, talks aren't super really ongoing right now. It's kind of just gauging what this barren market's looking like. So you can't take it too seriously. But from what it seems like, if momentum can be gained, the Cubs are in a really good spot right now to try and be one of his major players if they aren't already. So yeah, I mean, if they're able to ink a contract, I think getting him on less than 10 years is pretty possible, honestly. But we'll see how it goes. Honestly, we'll see, because I think if someone offers him 10 years, very likely he'll end up going there. But honestly, I don't know if anyone will give him a 10-year contract. I know the Tigers did, but I know he was disappointed with that AAV. So it's kind of just depends. And they did say too, I know Levine did say in his interview, I'll try to wrap this up because I feel like I'm kind of rambling a little bit here.
Yeah.
But that he was kind of again spitballing here of what a contract would look like, but it's pretty typical of what the Cubs would probably try to offer him, like a 2-year or like that, like for first 2 years front load it, so give him a high $30 million AAV, add an opt out afterwards, and then give him another 5 years guaranteed. Should he choose to stay with the squad. And it makes sense. I mean, Stroman was projected by most people that have to take a 5-year deal. He took a 3-year deal, third year being a player option with the Cubs, at a $25 million AAV. So they definitely want to stack up short term, and it makes sense because they don't have any long term assets really on the squad right now besides Stroman and Hayward. So we'll see how it pans out, but that's how it's looking like right now. We'll see how he ends up wanting his contract, how the Cubs end up circling that. But right now, looking nice if you're a Cubs fan.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I guess that's a good I guess that's a good way to just wrap it up. You're able to kind of cover every sport this time around, and it was fun doing this.
I know.
This is good.
It was, yeah.
We're hitting that final stretch of football season before we get to the postseason, and that's when things are really spicing up. And we're getting close to a year now because we started after last Super Bowl, and
We did.
That's kind of crazy to think about. So yeah, I mean it's insane. So yeah, this is awesome. So I'm gonna see you all. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, happy holidays.
Happy New Year. Yes.